Hello, and welcome to another live stream. I did my first one on a Sunday, and I'm back already for another one. I felt compelled to do another live stream because I'm ready to do a rant. I'm ready to rant and ramble about Steelbooks. I don't know how many of you out there collect Steelbooks or used to collect Steelbooks, but what I'm aiming at, excuse me, what I'm aiming at today is the forced Steelbooks and the pricing of them as well. As we know, there's a lot of Steelbooks that are being released now, and they all come at such a premium. So we're going to take a look at what I'm talking about in just a moment. I'd like to say hello, Matt. Thank you for joining us. Well, for joining me. I'm on my own today, so join into the conversation on comments, and we'll see what we can come up with. So I've got some slides ready. Here we go. The big thing that's sort of hit me at the moment is the Disney releases of the Disney Plus shows. They're being released on Blu-ray after having their run on Disney Plus, and they're coming out in Steelbook edition only, which I've been trying to avoid Steelbooks, and it feels like they're forcing us back into that pattern of collecting and hoarding Steelbooks for the sake of it. But not only are they releasing these Steelbooks, but they're releasing them at such a premium. The pricing of these is something ridiculous. For example, we've got, just here, if we look, they're releasing Andor Season 1 at £50. Now they're trying to justify this as it being because it's a Steelbook edition. It's a Steelbook limited edition, but they're charging you £50 for the privilege. These are shows that perhaps most of us have already seen on Disney Plus anyway. So we're going to be paying the premium to have them again when they're freely available on our subscription service. Are there many of us out there that are willing to pay that premium to get all of these shows again, just to have them on our shelves? Have a think about that. I just wanted to give a couple of quick shout outs before we carry on. We've got AH, thank you for joining us. And we've got Jeremy Carr here as well. I'm doing very well, thank you. I'm going to carry on ranting in a minute if I can start to get my words out properly. But yeah, we've also got the Crypto Video Club from South Dakota. So hello, US. Nice of you to join us, thank you. So the limited edition Steelbooks from Disney. Here we go. Here's another example we've got just here. We've got all of them out here from Zavvi. As we can see, Andor priced at £50 for season 1. I don't know if this is 1 disc or 2 disc, but it just seems pricey. Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Moon Knight, all priced at £45. Now for collectors, it's quite a sting because a lot of collectors that want these shows in our collection, you're talking what? It's pretty much £200 right there for 4 releases. That's a lot of other movies, and they're not giving us any options. It's the Steelbook or it's nothing at the moment. I'm hoping they start to release them in standard editions, but at the moment they're just heading for these Steelbooks super limited edition releases. They've already sold out of The Mandalorian, which I missed out on because I was resisting those Steelbooks. And there's no sign of any standard edition. I think they will come over time, but at the moment they're keeping information very, very close to the chest. Matt, like the looks of the Obi-Wan edition, but would only consider that. Did you watch all of the Star Wars shows, Matt? I didn't know. A lot of people seem to swing towards Andor as being the best Star Wars TV show they've put out there. I don't know what anyone else thinks on that. Jeremy Carr, Moon Knight artwork looks sick. Yeah, it does look pretty. It does look nice. See if we can find a bigger picture of that one for us. No, I can't. Matt versus movies, wait for a discount. It's been lovely too, but I think these are going to sell out very quickly, and it's just then a case of waiting for if there's a standard edition becomes available. Hello, Davey B. Thank you for joining us. Jeremy Carr, I do love Moon Knight in general from the comics. The show is good. Steelbook looks beautiful, but not worth the price. This is what I agree on. This should really be a standard edition made available for the general collectors out there. If you've seen some of my previous videos, I've been trying to avoid buying Steelbooks. I get addicted. I get sucked into the collecting of them, and I feel like I've got to have everything. I've got to have everything on Steelbook, and it becomes this weird addiction mind game where I'm trying to keep up with buying everything. And you see what's happening with the releases now. It's just not financially possible, and I'm worrying that companies like Disney with these Steelbook releases are going to be pushing people into financial difficulties as they're trying to keep up with all these new releases, because it's not just these Disney shows that are being released in Steelbook form. There's a lot of other movies and shows that are always being churned out. There seems to be a lot of new announcement for bigger, better Steelbook editions of our favorite movies that are must-haves. For example, the Seven Steelbook edition. It looks great. It's a fantastic, fantastic movie, but the price point that they're putting on this thing, they're charging, I don't know if you can see on here, but the Seven, what's in the box, limited edition Steelbooks, £80. The collector's edition Steelbook, £45. Who's keeping up with all of these releases out there? Are there any of us that are managing to get all the Steelbooks they want? And is there anyone that's patient and willing to wait to see if there's that standard edition coming out? And we've got pop culture. I'm excited for Star Wars, but don't like Steelbooks. I'm with you there. Most likely will pick up because I want all the Star Wars on physical, but we'll skip Marvel. And again, you're going to pick up because it's a limited edition, because it's the only option, and you've got no other choice. So if you want it as part of your collection, you're going to have to pay that premium to be guaranteed it, unless they come out and tell us that there's a standard edition on the way. Matt is not a fan of Andor. Fair enough. I think my favourite Star Wars show has been Ahsoka, to be fair. That's purely based on my love of Clone Wars. I watched all the Clone Wars show pretty late on, watched it with my little boy and thoroughly loved it and fell in love with the characters. And it made me appreciate Star Wars on a whole new level. So seeing the characters of Ahsoka come to life on live action, it's fantastic. Loved it. Findlay Archers. I'm a DVD guy, so pardon his ignorance, but Steelbooks, are Steelbooks different other than the Steelbook itself? Is there extra content? Generally, no. It's exactly the same content, and all they're selling you really is different packaging. And it's the same with a lot of the limited editions. All you're getting is sort of the hard box, the art cards, maybe a poster, and they're charging a massive, massive premium for it. Example is, if you watch my shopping video, I went into HMV and had a limited edition of Chopper, and they also had a standard edition of Chopper. Limited edition was £38, came with 4K and the Blu-ray, but the standard edition with just the Blu-ray was £18. Now, it's a movie, I don't see it having a huge benefit in being 4K, so really, if you're just sticking to Blu-ray, it's £18 for the standard Blu-ray edition, or £38 for the special packaging. It's an extra £20, and the content is the same, apart from the printed materials you're getting with them. These studios have sort of learned our collecting habits, and they're rinsing us for it. They're absolutely milking all the money that they can from whatever edition they think is going to sell. They'll mark it up as limited, and they'll sell the hell out of it for as long as they can. I fully expect that Star Wars TV shows will get more releases down the line in standard editions, but at the moment they're milking as much as they can out of it from collectors. And again, is it leading us down the path of financial difficulties, just trying to keep up? Is there anyone else that's been struggling to keep up with paying for all of these movies? While I was in HMV the other day, I also noticed that they had The Crow limited Steelbook edition. Not as badly priced as some of the others, but again, there's no option out there at the minute for a standard edition. They're charging the premium, I think it's about £5 extra than your standard 4K release, but they're still finding a way to squeeze that little bit more money out of consumers. There's also, if you flick through HMV, the Terrifier double feature. I saw this in CEX on my shopping video as well. It was £12 for the double Blu-ray. For the 4K double Steelbook edition, £45. It's an extra 30 quid for a box. Is it worth it? Are we the suckers? Are we just buying into this consumer market and just getting everything and anything just for the sake of it, to say that we have it, to say that we've got this limited edition on the shelf? Just going to have another quick look through the comments on here. Bumpers movies. I would like the Star Wars ones, but why not do a standard release at £25 or even £30? Yeah, I completely agree, and that's what I was expecting, which was perhaps why I didn't jump in and grab the Mandalorian Blu-rays. I fully expected there was going to be a standard edition out of the way. So far, egg on my face, no, I'm still without a copy of the Mandalorian on my shelf, but yeah, that's my fault. But I think as long as there's money there, they're going to keep on milking it. TV shows are always expensive. Yeah, I agree, Matt. The TV shows do tend to be expensive when they're first released. You can tend to pick them up mega cheap over time as this new series comes out. The old ones just get cheaper and cheaper, but I think I generally go on the amount of discs that they use compared to the prices. I still generally think these shows that Disney are putting out on the Steelbooks are just not worth the huge premium that they're putting on it. Pop culture. I'm ordering from Disney Movie Club 60% before they shut down, so they come out about 15 each, based on what else I'm ordering. Okay. Jeremy Carr. This will also be the last release before Disney outsources physical media to Sony. Yeah, absolutely right. It's going to be interesting to see what Sony are allowed to do with the Disney releases. Not sure of the terms of the contract for Sony distributing, if they get access to Disney's old library or if there's certain restrictions, but it will certainly be interesting to see what happens to their releases over time. We might get new issues of various releases that we've already seen. We might get some titles that we've been waiting for that have only previously been available through Disney Movie Club or anything else. I certainly hope that Sony get the whole back catalogue to do with what they will, and hopefully they put some things special on it as well, some extra features and things like that. I'm a sucker for extra content over the packaging now. A good documentary or behind the scenes or audio commentary, I'm all in for. I love that stuff. I love the creation, the making of, all the little stories behind the scenes. I think they're great. That's kind of my jam. And back to the Ocean's trilogy release, the Steelbook, £60 on 4K. Yeah, it's not too bad for a 4K release, but they're old movies. They're old movies, and you can get them so much cheaper on Blu-ray. I just think it's a massive premium for older films that you can get elsewhere. But as well as trying to milk it for the Ocean's trilogy on Steelbook, they've also gone and released Steelbook for the individual editions. And I know there are going to be collectors among us that like to have all the Steelbook editions. So I dread to think if there's going to be people out there that are buying the trilogy and then buying the individual releases so that they have all the Steelbooks on the shelf. Some people will do it. I just think it's a very pricey thing to get sucked into doing. Just moving back to the comments, apologies. Yeah, Jeremy Card, too low of an episode counting Andor to count for the price, which I agree with, absolutely. Anna, even if it's worth it, I just can't afford it. Yeah, I think there are a lot of people in the same boat, and this is what worries me with all these Steelbook premium prices and limited edition premium prices. The companies, Yeah, they're making it premium, but it's going to suck people into using credit cards to try and get these limited editions just so they've got it. And my fear is that they're going to be running people into debt, which I'm sure there's a lot of collectors out there that have dealt with debt issues from trying to collect anything and everything. Yeah, I just think this Steelbook trend that we're on is leading people back down that sort of path again, the path of wanting it all, wanting to try and have everything. It's yeah. Back to 7 bumpers movies. You could probably buy Gwyneth Paltrow's head in a box for £80. Yeah. Glenn, I'm getting a vibe from the comments that because Star Wars and Marvel have such a huge fan base, they have a captive audience, really, regardless of price. Well, yeah, it shows it with the release of The Mandalorian, and there was something else, and it was Mandalorian and WandaVision for the Marvel shows that they did sell out, and they had that captive audience, and they're gone. You can't get them anymore, or you paying a premium from eBay scalpers. It's sad that we're still waiting on news of any standard editions, but hopefully they'll come. But I'm just not willing to pay the premium that they're currently trying to milk out of everyone. Sorry, Matt again. A lot of the special editions won't sell out. Maverick box set is reduced already. Yep, that's true as well. We're seeing that quite often now with the Arrow limited editions. There was a time that Arrow would release a limited edition, it would sell out, and you'd not see it again for months. Now, with their releases, we're seeing a lot of their titles that are still easily available. They've been on limited edition for months, and you can still pick them up fairly easily. I think it depends on the title. Obviously, Star Wars carries a big name to it, so I think some of those will sell out. But even with the limited editions, the money on the table, there's always going to be standard edition that follows there. Mentally ill movie hoarder. Everything is expensive nowadays. Evil Dead series, 40 to 50 euros plus shipping. So if they release and stream stuff on discs, you just have to pay what they ask. Seems to be going down that path, definitely. Jeremy Carl, I only own one Steelbook Mothra 1961 because Mill Creek never made a standard edition in the US. However, it has a clear slip cover to prevent scratches, which is a good thing. A lot of people have been using the special plastic sleeves for the Steelbooks to give them that extra protection. It was one of the things that sort of put me off Steelbook collecting, was how easily some of them can become damaged. They tend to gather scratches over time, even when they're sat on the shelf, just taking it on and off the shelf. It seems to gather up scratches so easily. Bumpers Movies. Chopper isn't 4K. That limited edition at £38 is just Blu-ray. So you're paying £20 literally for a box and some printed materials, and possibly a book in there, but it's a lot of money. It's another movie. Easily. It seems ridiculous to be paying that premium just for the box. The collector's sets at Zavvi that Zavvi sell are the worst. There was a deluxe edition of The Fifth Element last year, and I did have it on pre-order but cancelled it after the release was delayed. I think, yeah, if you've seen my other videos, you know that I'm not as a fan of Zavvi. They've treated me pretty badly in the past, and I dumped them. And that was over a Steelbook as well. I'll recap the story. I ordered Guardians of the Galaxy on Steelbook. It was the Star-Lord's cassette cover. And I was really looking forward to getting it. I pre-ordered it as soon as it was announced, forgot about it for quite a while. Release date rolled on around. Between the time that I ordered it and the release date, my credit card that I had ordered it with had expired. Obviously, when release date came, my credit card had expired, so it got declined, and the order didn't go through. I contacted Zavvi to try and give them the new credit card details so I could get that order through. They said no. Basically, all their response was, you will have to reorder it, which, as we know, the Steelbooks sell out rather quickly. I couldn't pre-order it, and I missed out on that Steelbook, and it was perhaps one of the catalysts for me falling out of love with the Steelbook collector. I just realized how much stress it added and how much anxiety it caused, whether I would get the Steelbook through, whether it had come through damaged. It's Zavvi just spoiled it. They spoiled Steelbooks. It was those that sort of started flooding the market with the Steelbooks, with all their re-releases and reissues of old titles. They just flooded them out of the market, and enough was enough. Enough was enough. Last Days on Earth. But then again, I would rewatch The Village and Arlington Road. Where is that Village Blu-ray, I wonder? Possibly planning an M. Night Shyamalan box set at some point, but I wasn't a big fan of The Village, personally. Findlay Archers. That is crazy prices. I paid £10 for a DVD the other day and wasn't happy. I couldn't imagine paying 40 quid or more for a movie. That's fair. 40 quid or more is a ridiculous amount just for one movie. Matt, pick and choose, always the second-hand market. Give it 6 months and a pre-owned cheaper. Most definitely. I've seen it a few times in CEX on my latest shopping video. You see a few of the titles, some quite recent releases. Blu-rays generally around £8, unless you're looking at a boutique label or limited edition. Certainly a lot cheaper if you're willing to bide your time. Friends Sanchez, those Zavvi sets don't offer anything other than tat. As with a lot of the limited editions, unfortunately, we've been built up to think the limited editions are something special. In reality, it's really just printed materials and cardboard. Is that all that you get an extra? For me, if it's going to be a limited edition, the limited stuff has got to be the content on the actual disc. I want extra features, I want extra materials like that. I'm not bothered about the printed things. A lot of people do like the printed materials, but in my eyes, the extras that they offer with the printed things, they're not worth it for me because they sit on the shelf, do nothing, and stay hidden away and generally just forgotten about. I can't remember which titles that I have that have art cards in them, posters. I don't care. I just want the movie. That's all I'm looking for. I mean, looking at the 7 box set here, there's tons of stuff in there, and it's all guff. It's all printed materials. There's the rigid slipcase, the John Doe 38-page booklet, double-sided poster, art cards, and that's £45. It's at least £20 more than a standard 4K release. It's just, where does the cost stop? It's ridiculous. One of the things that has sort of stuck out recently was HMV. They recently announced that they were doing some new Steelbook editions. Let's see if I can bring that up on screen. There we go. We have the Tango and Cash and Cobra Steelbooks. £18 each. They're coming out in June. Well, they're £18 each. These movies, if we go on to where's my search bar? If we go into HMV, I know these. I've got these movies already, but if we have a look for a Stallone box set, there we go. Sylvester Stallone Collection Blu-ray box set. This includes Cobra, and it includes Tango and Cash, and it's £15. For me, it's ridiculous. So you're paying £15 for 5 movies: Cobra, Assassins, Tango and Cash, The Specialist, and Demolition Man, or you can pay £38 for the privilege of having the Steelbook editions. Got the Cobra, Tango Cash, 36 quid, 2 movies, or 15 for 5. Where's the sense in this? I don't understand. I mean, if they release the Steelbooks at £10 each, yeah, okay, for collectors it's quite nice, but it's still a little expensive. £18 each versus 15 for 5 movies. Give over. Okay, let's hop back to the comments. Oh, Sean Allen, thank you, Sean. There is a standard Blu-ray coming for The Crow. Hopefully they'll announce that soon. I know the release is coming up, but it's still at least a couple of months away, so fingers crossed we'll hear more about that soon, and hopefully it'll include all of the extras, bar the art cards and booklets and printers. Fran Sanchez, I'm amazed HMV is still hanging on. I usually find them too expensive. I think the prices have actually got a little bit better, to be fair, over time. Certainly when I popped in on my shopping video, there seemed a lot more titles that were reduced in price. I managed to pick up a couple of movies that I was after at a cheaper rate than I would. Still the same prices as online, but they're reasonable. They're not as bad as there was. I think what's keeping HMV going is the merchandise. When you walk into the store, it's not just Blu-ray, it's not just CDs anymore. You've got a whole sort of wall. The shop's possibly half full of various merchandise. You've got plushes, you've got the t-shirts, you've got the little Funkos and things like that. And I think it's that kind of thing that keeps them going. It's not nice to see when you go in there, I just want movies or CDs. But if it's something that's keeping them on the high street, then I'm happy to see it. I'll carry on trying to support them if I can. If you do use HMV though, if you check the description below, I've included a referral code in there. If you use HMV and if you use a new email or create a new account, this referral link will give you 20% off. So if you're looking at buying any of the Steelbooks or looking at any other items, if you use the referral link below and use a newly registered account, then you can get 20% off your purchase. If you're buying these Disney Steelbooks, it'll bring the price down a little. It's still very expensive, but every little bit helps, right? Last Days on Earth. Can't type quick enough. No pressure. There's no pressure. Go at your own pace. Mentally ill movie hoarder. Sony, get things better. More normal release instead of the Steelbooks. Fingers crossed. Hopefully they take note and see that there's still a market for those of us that still want a more standard edition. Yes, Jeremy. 22 watching, 6 likes. What the come on, lurkers. Friends Sanchez. Could care less about Disney's film. It's the Fox library I care about. Hopefully Fight Club will get to 4K through Sony, seeing as Fincher has history with them. Yeah, I think there are a few Fincher films that need 4K releases, or at least upgrades to Blu-ray. I think we're still waiting on Panic Room. I've still got that on DVD somewhere and still waiting for that Blu-ray upgrade. I think it has been released on Blu-ray somewhere in the world. I can't quite remember where, but I think we need a good, solid edition of that. Matt versus movies. With a shrinking physical media market, the special editions are ramping up before the players are stopping being made and it all goes digital. It will happen, just a matter of time. I think there's still life in physical. I'd give it another 15 years or so, 15, I think. It's interesting watching the way my kids consume their media. They couldn't give a monkeys about my discs up here. We've got a bunch of Disney films on Blu-ray that we bought for them when they were very young. It doesn't matter now. They've got their little remotes, they'll click for Disney. They don't care about the discs. I'll get a disc out, it's like a pooed on their homework or something. They're just not interested in the physical media at all. Friend Sanchez. They usually only release older films on 4K when there's a new one coming out. Is there another Oceans on the horizon? I'm not sure. I think there have been rumours of some kind of Oceans follow-up, but the details of which I'm not sure. I think I had rumblings of it, but not 100%. Pop Culture 33. I think more older films will be coming to 4K for how well Warner Brothers have 100 edition have sold. I hope so. I hope there's some of the older movies that start getting released again. There's a number of movies I'm still waiting on nicer editions of. Looking over here, a couple of my favourites. Grosse Point Blank was still on a really, really basic Blu-ray edition, and it burns me. It's a great movie. Why have we not got a better edition of that? Who's going to release the Steelbook of Grosse Pointe Blank for me? Sean Allen. HMV are overpriced when it comes to second sight releases. Cheaper to buy Chopper Direct at $29.99. Still expensive for a bit of extra paper. 100%. Excuse me, just taking a drink. Steelbooks. Sorry, Jeremy Carr. Steelbooks are probably heavy as heck to move if you have to relocate. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. I was probably getting on for 60 or 70 Steelbooks, and moving them about was a mission. So if I wanted to rearrange my shelves, it was a pain in the arse. And I'm glad I got shut of them. I think I've got about 10 left in the collection, but they've pretty much all gone. Last Days on Earth. I own 3 Steelbooks, Some Kind of Wonderful, Wings of Desire, and Almost Famous for the bootleg 4K, which I've now replaced with the HMV Cine edition. Same, I've got the HMV Cine edition of Almost Famous because it's a fantastic film. I'd put it in my top 10. I love it. I'm a big fan of Cameron Crowe movies. I've tried to get a lot of those movies in the best edition that I can as they come along. Paramount Plus releases I've got of Vanilla Sky, and there was another one. I can't quite recall it, and I can't get to the collection to have a look, but they were really good releases. Fran Sanchez. I had the opposite story with Zavvi and the Guardian Steelbook. Got the order through, but ended up selling. But the buyer returned it because of a small dent. That was because of Zavvi. Fran Sanchez. When is that 7 set coming out? Again, I pre-ordered but cancelled. It's due to the undecided release date. It's still undecided. I'm pretty sure when I checked earlier, there was still waiting on a date. I will have a look right now, and let's have a look. Which edition would you go for? Would you go for the just normal limited edition, or are you going to be spending big and getting the What's in the Box limited edition with Steelbook? There we go. 7 limited edition. It's still on coming soon. So no date as yet. I suspect it may be late June to early sort of July time. But we will see. Finley Archers, I'm not sure if you're joking or not. If you are not joking, can you talk a little about working on Prometheus? I played Alien Isolation and had to watch every single movie. Amazing. Yeah, I worked on Prometheus quite a number of years ago now. I was quite lucky to do it. I jumped into acting a little bit too late to actually audition for Prometheus. Excuse me. What happened for me with Prometheus, I was working on another movie called Jack the Giant Slayer, and I think one of the stunt guys was working on Prometheus, and they said they needed another tall guy to be one of the engineers. Checked my availability through my agent and basically got me to set and got me in suit. I was one of the engineers that was wearing their spacesuit, the elephantine masks. So when you see the holograms running around, which had the space mask on with the trunk that's sort of attached into the chest, or the holograms running around, there was 2 of us running around in motion capture suits that were basically the full-on alien suit with LEDs in them, and that was later turned into holograms for the final movie. And they also had me for the scene when the engineer gets in the chair and the helmet comes down, and then it's me in the helmet in the engineer's chair. It was really, really hard work, but it was good fun. It was such a geek moment to be on the set of Prometheus. Seeing the set of the engineer's chair from the scene that we all know from the original Alien film, it was just a dream come true. Running around in the suit with the LEDs wasn't easy, but I wouldn't have missed it. Wouldn't have missed it. It was a great experience for a few days back 12 years ago or so, I think now. H. Are you telling me that you don't need a keychain of every movie you bought on your keys? Maybe for one or two. I can't find my Pussy Wagon key ring anywhere from Kill Bill, but I'm sure it's hiding around here somewhere. Those Tango and Cash and Cobra Steelbooks look sweet. Well, I've bought those films enough, including that Stallone collection. I'm exactly the same. I've already got the Stallone collection sat on my shelf, and I'm not sure if Cobra and Tango and Cash have been watched since I picked it up. I watched them a lot when I was younger, but since I picked up the Blu-ray, they've probably sat there. So the £18 each for the Steelbooks. Is it worth it? I don't think so. Pop culture. I know some people in the States that have bought exclusive Best Buy Steelbooks are rebuying Walmarts just because the sticker says Walmart, not Best Buy. Don't know how they're doing it. I absolutely agree. I absolutely 100% agree. It's a ridiculous way of collecting for me. They're duplicating the movie, probably duplicating some of the artwork as well, and it just doesn't seem worth it. And how they're financially doing it, I've no clue. I've seen people buying several editions of the same movie just because they have a different slipcover. It bewilders me at times how much people spend on the same movie, even when it's not a movie that they absolutely love. It's just for the collection, and they're just buying it for the sake of it. It seems to be a habit and a trapping, and I've been through financial difficulties before because of my collecting habits. It's something I don't want to drift down again. So when I sort of step back and reflect and look at other people's buying habits, I see things that I perhaps used to do in a way, and it worries me for people. Last Days on Earth, Man vs. Movies, Radiance reviews are clearing out my bank account. Yeah, the Radiance releases are nice. I've only picked up a couple of their titles myself. I've tried not to get carried away, but they do a good job. The guy that runs it used to run Arrow Video, and I think it's a sign of decent quality. Since he left Arrow, things went downhill, but Radiance have come on the scene and sort of picked up that slack a little bit. Anthony Lipiello, apologies for the pronunciation if that was correct, was incorrect. Never was a fan of Steelbooks. The only two Steelbooks I have is anime movies Lupin and the First Millennium Actress from G-Kids in the States. A little pricey, only if I have no choice. Again, we're back to the lack of choice sometimes with these Steelbook editions. I think if they're charging a premium for these type of editions, they need to offer up alternatives for the general audience. There are people that will pay the price for a Steelbook and want to pay the price for a Steelbook edition, but for a general audience, they need to offer options. It's got to be done. Got to be done. Is the game on Blu-ray yet? In the UK and in the US, yes, it is. The game was released in the US by Criterion. In the UK, the Arrow Video released a pretty decent edition of it. The only thing with the Arrow UK one was that the audio commentary from David Fincher was on a DVD. They didn't actually put it on the Blu-ray in the box set. Thank you, Glenn. I'm a bit late getting back to this one, but Ocean's prequel with Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling. I knew I'd read it somewhere. Thank you. Supposed to be playing Danny Ocean's parents. Interesting. Last Days on Earth. I have a 120-inch projector in my house, and I still find my kids watching films on their laptop. Yeah. Same. Tablets and phones. Fran Sanchez. I think Panic Room was a big flop on DVD. There was a standard version and a 3-disc special edition about a year later, which will have sold for about $3.99 not long after that. That's the edition I still have on my shelf, the 3-disc DVD edition. Really good. Fran Sanchez. The What's in the Book edition sounds like Much Ado About Nothing. Excuse me, cold coffee. Yeah, there's not much extra in there for the money at all. Jeremy Carr. What is one film that you want badly on 4K that isn't yet, that you would jump on a Steelbook version if no standard version was made? I think Grosse Point Blank is one of them. I'd be looking for the extra features on that as well. Of that, other 4K. So I'd like Point Break, but that's already been released in America, and I have been looking at importing it. Roadhouse I've just picked up, that was an import as well. I think it'd have to be Grosse Point Blank, and I'm currently waiting on Boogie Nights as well, which I think has already been announced, but that's, again, one of my favourite movies, and I will pick that up regardless of what case it comes in. I already overspent on a stupid edition that I got from HMV, which was, again, same disc repackaged at a premium cost, because that's what they do. David B, amazing Prometheus story. It was. I still actually have the call sheets from when I was on set in one of my boxes down here. It's buried under a bunch of other stuff, but I still kept hold of that just to see my name on the call sheet with whoever else was working that day. Last Days on Earth. I love both the new Alien films. Used to think Fassbender was the best thing in the new films. Now I have to change my way of thinking. Thank you. H, what's the oldest movie you have that is staying in your collection? Oldest movie that it's probably something on Laserdisc. I've still got Laserdiscs sat here in a box behind me. I can't actually get to them at the moment, but if you've seen some of my other videos, you've probably seen some of my Laserdiscs. I've still got some DVDs knocking around. There's not many of them, but I have, I can't see it. Catherine Bigelow's vampire movie, Near Dark. I still have that knocking around on DVD. Blu-ray wise, I think I've still got Iron Legend, which was the first Blu-ray that I picked up. Jeremy Carr, buy the standard edition. Just Google and download the artwork if you like. Save yourself the extra money. Don't pay up unless you're getting like a cool figurine, statue, or something along those lines. Absolutely. I think you need something cooler than a poster and art cards if you're paying the premium. I think, I don't know how much extra they charge, but I saw a few editions from Scream Factory getting released with figurines and things like that. They looked rather cool. I never looked into them because I thought that's just another collecting thing that I need to have that I'll get sucked into and then got to have them all. Hello to the monkey. Greetings, long time fan, first time comment. Great videos. Thank you very much. Hello to Mike's DVD and Blu-ray collection. Nice of you to join us. Thank you for joining. Fran Sanchez, the Arrow limited edition of the game is a bugger to fit on the shelf. It absolutely is. It's stood on top of one of my shelves. It's not on an actual shelf, it's on the top of the shelf. It's about that much bigger than standard Blu-ray, so of course it messes your entire collection up. And where do you put something like that? The monkey, what film made you go out and buy the soundtrack straight away? There's been a few. I went through a period in the 90s where I was picking up movie soundtracks for loads of films. A lot of them were the teen horror movies from the 90s. I was just grabbing soundtracks for left, right, and centre. I got the Scream, I Know What You Did Last Summer. I think I even picked up like maybe Urban Legend. I had the Grosse Point Blank one. Trainspotting, obviously, because everyone had that. Yeah, I think the 90s were just massive for movie soundtracks, and yeah, just picking all and everything up. I think the earliest one that I remember was probably Roadhouse, and it made me, well, it gave me a massive appreciation for the Jeff Healy band, and I bought a couple of their albums as well. So not only did I buy the movie soundtrack, but it led me into buying the band soundtrack as well. It's one thing that worries me about the Roadhouse remake. Jeff Healy left such an imprint on that movie. How does a remake even come close to sort of emulating that sort of impact on a movie? I don't know how that's going to work. I think the reviews have been quite positive, but I don't know. How can you replace Jeff Healy? Fran Sanchez, Boogie Nights is getting 4K. Good to hear. I was thinking of buying the Daft Sinner edition. Don't buy the Daft Sinner edition. It's daft. It's literally exactly the same disc, pretty much the same case, and you get a hard box and a couple of art cards. It's for the price. It's absolute bullshit. Yeah, if it's in the sale, maybe if you need it in your collection, but yeah, wait and see what the 4K offers. It's just not worth the extra. Mike's DVD and Blu-ray collection. Who's putting Boogie Nights out? Honestly, I've no idea. I've heard it in the wind that it's coming on 4K, but I don't know who is releasing it. If anyone else knows the answers, plonk a comment on there and we'll get down to that in a moment. Fran Sanchez still has the DVD of Near Dark. Should be a shoe-in for 4K, as Studio can now have the rights. Absolutely. Hopefully they'll get around to it pretty soon, but the reason I've kept the DVD is there's just no decent Blu-ray out there for it. There was a Blu-ray, it's now out of print, but I think it was a pretty shocking version anyway, so the DVD just stayed. Geek Legion of Doom. Used to work in the games industry for over a decade. Nice. So I'm quite familiar with the media ID, say film and TV. He was about 5 years behind video games in regards to production of physical media production. It doesn't surprise me. I think film and TV are generally behind on most things, technology and everything. Fran Sanchez, I have my limited edition of the game literally on top of my shelf too. I'm not the only one. The Monkey, Near Dark should have been released on 4K the same time as The Lost Boys, don't you think? Yeah, absolutely agree. It could have even come along with the James Cameron films, to be fair, because Catherine Bigelow obviously links into James Cameron around that time quite heavily. I mean, I think Cameron quite heavily influenced her direction on Point Break. So to release that along with the Cameron movies would have made perfect sense to me. How many years do you think physical media production? 5 years left. Not sure. Let's see what he says. Doom Generation CD in the 90s. I don't think I ever came across that. I'll have to have a look. I'll have to look that one up. Fran Sanchez, the Roadhouse remake looks good, but it won't have the sleazy charm of the original. No, I don't think so either. I think it all looks very pretty with the location. It looks a nice choice to slap it in Florida, but the worrying thing for me with the trailer, I didn't realize that it was such a close remake, if that makes sense. I expected a quasi remake sequel type thing, but it just looks like a full-on remake, and there are lines that I recognized from the original movies that were popping up in trailers, and it kind of made me step back and think, are they doing the right thing? I don't know if they should remake it in this way, but I'm still obviously going to check it out because it'll be on Amazon Prime, and I hope it's decent. We'll see. So Simon, hello Simon. Did you enjoy Wonka? Did you get a Steelbook of it? Yeah, I really enjoyed Wonka. I took the kids to go and see it, and we all thoroughly loved it. I thought it was great. Quite a magical experience. I've not picked up a Steelbook of it. I won't be picking up the Steelbook of it. I'll be avoiding that because it's a movie that I think the kids will get a kick out of rewatching. It'll likely be a digital purchase, to be fair. As I say, the kids don't give a monkeys about physical media, so they'd sooner log onto my Apple TV and watch it on there. So having it on digital, it makes more sense to me, and it's safer than them messing with my physical player. I don't like them putting discs in the machine. They're only 6 and 9 now, but sticky fingerprints everywhere. No, if it's my disc, you're not touching it. Davey B. Judgment Night, The Crow, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. The early 90s was an amazing time for film soundtracks. Absolutely. We're seeing it more, I think, more and more over time. The horror films in particular in the 90s, they all had such banging soundtracks, and they were all CDs that I wanted, all soundtracks that I wanted. I was introduced to so many films, to so many bands through the movies from the 90s, purely based on the great use of soundtracks. I think it's a lost art now. Yeah, Geek Legion of Dooms guesses in 5 years there'll be still some physical media around. In 10 years there'll be near enough nothing. Yep, sounds about right. Sadly, just keep our players alive. We're gonna have to take care of them, guys. Take care of your players. Carry on using physical media. Yes, pronounce the name correctly. Thank you for letting me know. I'm not going to try it again now. Jeremy Carr, why is no one talking about how if a Steelbook breaks, you can't replace the case like a standard Blu-ray? You have to rebuy the whole thing again. Unfortunate. Yep, absolutely. I've had that happen on a couple of, unfortunately, a couple of movies that I had. I think I broke the Bourne Legacy. I think that broke down the spine. And then when I moved house, I also broke my Life of Pi with the lenticular cover. Somehow it got knocked off and trapped under a door and scraped. The door scraped on top of it and scratched and dented that. And there were things that obviously limited editions couldn't replace them. And I just didn't bother replacing them. They just got shipped out. I think Bourne Legacy is in a pile to ship off to CEX or eBay at the moment because I've got a different box set of it now. But yeah, it's a nightmare. If you're collecting these limited editions, if they get damaged or broken, then you're screwed. Unless you're going to rebuy it, if you can rebuy it and not being scalped on eBay. The Monkey, I hope Tom Holland has a cameo as a spider collector in the remake of Roadhouse. Matt versus Movies, good time to collect DVD special editions while it's cheap. Absolutely, I think you can pick a lot of them up quite cheap now at CEX or online at Music Magpie as well. Some VHS in mint condition becoming vintage and collectible. DVD will follow in time for mint condition editions of certain films. VHS in mint condition, I've seen quite a few recently. There's a shop in my local town called the 80s Video Shop. They've got a page on YouTube somewhere, but it's set up, it's like a little museum, 80s nostalgia, just overload. They've got all the shelves set up like your old school VHS rental shop. Awesome to visit, and some great guys that run it. It's not got great open times, they're only open a few hours for like 3 days a week, but it's wonderful to visit and just chat with them and just soak in the atmosphere of the 80s Video Shop. I've not noticed if they've got a back room full of porn yet though, so I'll go back and check that out one day. Matt versus Movies, buy up all those players. Yes. Last Days on Earth, the new film Holdovers has a great soundtrack. I hear it's a great film. It's one I've not seen yet. It's on my list along with about 90 other movies, but one I want to check out, and yeah, we'll see what the soundtrack's like as well. Favorite movie poster that I own? I've got an anime style Kill Bill poster that's up on my wall at the minute that I really like, but I've also got, let me tell you what I've got on my shelves at the moment, on the walls at the moment. I've got the original artwork for Roadhouse. I've got the original artwork for Big Trouble in Little China. When I say original artwork, the reprints obviously. I've got a Logan poster. I've got a Jaws poster from, I want to say Wildcat Designs, which is really nice. Another one from Wildcat Designs, which is of John Carpenter's The Thing. Then I've got the anime style Kill Bill poster. And then I've got 2 posters that were created by Graham Humphreys that did a lot of the artwork for mainly 80s horror movies like Evil Dead, Nightmare on Elm Street. I've got his prints of Nightmare on Elm Street and Death Proof, which are both signed by him because he did a signing in the 80s video store. I think my favourite, I do love the anime style Kill Bill one that I have on there. I think it's just cool. Mike's DVD and Blu-ray collection. I seem to always get dented Steelbooks from Amazon. I'm up to 4 now from them. That's ridiculous. Do you ever bring it up with Amazon customer services, and how are they with you? Do they offer a return or send a replacement out? It's something I've not experienced with Amazon. I don't think I had a lot of Steelbooks from them, so hopefully they're easy to deal with. But I think some of these companies leave a little to be desired with customer service, and yeah, I don't think they fully appreciate how much these things matters to collectors. It's clear that they don't with the way they package their items. Fran Sanchez, I'll have to check out Wonka. Shyamalan really won me over with Doom Part 2. Yeah, Wonka's definitely worth checking out. I forget the director's name that did he did Paddington 2, but I think genuinely he's got a really keen eye and a great skill in directing some nice, heartfelt family movies. The one thing about Wonka, I would say, the music isn't as catchy as the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, but it's still a wonderful little movie, and as I say, the kids loved it as well. So if it can entertain parents and it can entertain children, I'm all for it. I'd be happy to go and take them to see a sequel, no problem. Matt versus Movies, we say farewell. Thank you for watching, Matt, and I'll catch you later. Mike's DVD and Blu-ray collection. Need to get another multi-region player. The best thing I ever did with collecting physical media. But yeah, absolutely agree. I think if you're a fan of physical media and collecting, you need a multi-region player, especially with some of the nice editions that are coming out. I was flicking social media earlier, and I saw that Umbrella are releasing a rather lovely looking edition of the Raid. It's perhaps a bit pricey for me at the moment. I think it's like 100 Australian dollars, which I think £45, I think, but 4K edition of the Raid. It's got loads of printed materials in it, but it looks, yeah, a great player. I mean, Australia, I don't have the problem with the region coding, but if it was region coded, having a multi-region player just gives them that option, that nice edition, you can grab it without that worry. Great 1951 Media Channel. Hello. Dropped the Vinegar Syndrome box set of the horrible Dr. Hitchcock on the floor and damaged one of the corners and screamed at myself for 2 minutes. I'm not surprised. Not surprised. I got a box set. It was from a Facebook seller. It was pre-owned. I got the Imprint Neo Noir Volume 2 collection. I wanted a few titles in there. Bought it off someone on Facebook. They didn't package it very well, and that came, and I opened it and all the corners were dented, and I was a bit gutted. Glad the movie's still in there, and the cases are actually all right. It's just that box is dented, and no, it's not nice. I have to try and angle it on the shelf to make it look as good as I can. I had to order a second Steelbook of Wonka from Amazon as the first one had a dent. So it's happening to so many people that there's such a premium on these Steelbooks, and they can't even package them to send them to their consumers. It's unbelievable. Steelbooks aren't cheap, 100% agree. So I would have thought they'd get better protection. Absolutely agree. Absolutely. Jeremy Carr, glad to know he liked Tarantino. Any news on his final movie? Haven't come across anything. No, I don't know anything on that really. I know, well, I don't know, but it's meant to be, is it the Movie Critic? And I'm hearing this sort of circling Brad Pitt for a role, and sorry, names are escaping me when I'm on a live stream. I should really write things down before I come on, but I know Brad Pitt's being eyed up, and there was someone else that had been mentioned, but it's all rumour at this point. The Monkey, once physical media goes away, do you think movie posters will become like collecting comic books and collectors getting them graded? I think, to be honest with you, I think some movie posters are already being graded. I mean, you're probably going back to sort of posters from the 50s, but yeah, I think it's going to be a thing with gradings. I think potentially some of the box sets on Blu-ray might start getting graded. I've seen it happening with certain retro video games and some slightly newer video games as well. If they're in a box, there's certain companies that will grade them and package them for you. I think it's going to be a thing for a lot of older materials, that there's going to be these grading stores that'll grade them up and value them. So yeah, I think movie posters will. Hello to Brian Childs. Fran Sanchez, have you seen Doom Part 2? I loved it. The more I think about it, the more I think it's on par with Blade Runner 2049. I haven't yet. I loved the first Doom. Part 2 has so far escaped me. I've just not seemed to get the time to be able to get to the cinema and back in time for picking up the kids from school, getting to work, or doing whatever else. It's just a time thing. I want to go and see it. I'd love to go and see it on IMAX. It's just the runtime and all the ads at the cinema. It just all adds up, and it's just a little bit too difficult to squeeze in. I did try the other day, but the finish time would have got me back about 15 minutes too late for the kids' pick-up time at school. So if they didn't have the adverts and trailers, I would have managed it. As it was, I just couldn't risk it. Fran Sanchez, Amazon packaging and customer service has gone to the dogs in recent years. It didn't used to be that way. Yeah, I agree. If you generally in the past, I know for myself, if I had a complaint with them, they were generally pretty good and sorted the complaints out, and they'd give me a free month of Amazon Prime or something like that. Now you've got a complaint, you're lucky if you get a human response at all. The amount of times I've been referred to a machine and told to come back in 2 days, it's ridiculous. It's just not what it used to be at all. The Monkey, Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise are said to be in Tarantino's last film. I knew there was another name out there. Ryan Childs, I've been buying a lot of import Blu-rays from Germany lately. They have so many movies on Blu-ray that we have only on DVD here in the US. Yep, I've found that a lot with Germany. It worries me that some of the releases, I get worried that perhaps they aren't as well cared for with what content goes on the disc. Some of the releases have sounded really random in the past. I know quite a number of years ago when the vampire movie Daybreakers came out on Blu-ray, for some reason Germany had a 3D edition of this movie, and I've not heard of a 3D version. And looking through, they seem to have a lot of 3D editions for various movies that I didn't realize had 3D. So I'm sometimes a little wary of the care that goes into a package on some of the German releases, but companies like Turbine seem to be really knocking it out of the park with some of the titles that they're picking and releasing the limited editions that seem to go for a fortune on eBay for the Turbine releases anyway. But yeah, they are a decent option. I've got a few, or had a few German releases in my collection because they'll release anything and everything. So Simon, what are the best sites to import other Blu-ray regions? Depends where you're based, Simon. If you're based in the UK, I find that importing from the US, I'll use a company called Wow HD or Amazon itself. They tend to be the ones that I go to now. If it's Australia, personally, I'll go straight to the distributor's website. So if it's imprint, I think via Vision, Umbrella you can order direct for as well, and they'll take really good care of you. And the shipping's not too overpriced for Australia, to be fair. Never had a problem ordering direct from them at all. So it's really worth a look at those. Germany, it would be Amazon again. Generally just rely on getting your way through the process of ordering, clicking the yellow buttons, and you can have all your details already on your screen from your UK account. So it's pretty easy to do. Same with Amazon Italy and Spain and France. Just go onto their Amazon sites and use your normal process to order, and it appears a few weeks later. It's all Amazon. They've got kind of a monopoly, haven't they? Slipknot fan, hello. Any obscure 80s horror movies you can recommend? No, not obscure. It's going to be things like Brain Dead and Bad Taste, and I think that's quite widely known now, so there's nothing too obscure that I think would surprise you. There's a couple of smaller horror movies that are perhaps more recent that not a lot of people have seen that I favour. There's one called Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon. If you're a slasher fan and you've not seen that movie, you need to check it out. I think that was, it's been in the last, probably 15 years old now, I think, something like that, where it's really underappreciated, and It's really good. If you can track it down, give it a look. I think in the US it got a Scream Factory release. I think it's harder to track down in the UK, which should be able to find an import from somewhere. And that's Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon. So Simon is UK, so same as me, Amazon sites or Wow HD for the UK, for various ones. If it's Australia, go direct to the distributor, either via Vision, Imprint or Umbrella. And they're pretty much the main ones that I would use. Friend Sanchez, I'd love to see I'd love to see Quentin work with Uma one more time, but there might be bad blood between them after that car accident. I think, Franz, that may have settled down a little bit now over time. Not sure, but it doesn't seem quite as much bad blood there as there perhaps once was. Last Days on Earth, I just imported Butcher's Crossing 4K from Germany. Did you find the process of ordering from Germany quite easy? I guess that's what I would ask. Paul Walter Hauser will be in the film as well. He was in Cruella. That's Cobra Kai guy, isn't it? That was in Blackbird as well, I believe. Don't destroy me if I'm wrong. Friend Sanchez, Vivision are a bit pricey, but they do good work. The Barfly limited edition is beautifully packaged. Yep. All things film with Yum Yum. What's the best film that you've seen this year? Not necessarily a 2024 flick, but a good film in general. I've not seen many this year, to be honest with you. I'm going to have to think on that a moment. I'll come back to that. Last Days on Earth. I'm pretty lucky. My daughter lives in Oz, and I get her to send me a box of releases now and again. I recently got to The Last Wave from Umbrella. That is really lucky because you can dictate how you want them packaged. Lots of bubble wrap and lots of cardboard. I suppose it makes it a bit safer than relying on the companies and distributors to package them nicely. The monkey, he was the one at the end who opened the door, and he was the first to officially announce her to the partygoers outside. Her name's DeVille, like the car. H, I bought one German release, Streets on Fire. It was just best version available. Absolutely, I think if you're importing, then go with what you can. Amazon Germany, cheap postage, and only took a week. Yeah, I've found them pretty quick as well. I've been lingering over a toy on Amazon Germany for myself. It's a Playmobil replica of Kit from Knight Rider. I've found the Playmobil cars to be quite robust and quite good. Kids will play with them, and generally they'll survive to put on my shelf as well. So Germany had the best prices for the Knight Rider kit car, so I was tempted by that. I'm still looking at it. I might pick it up one day. What is your go-to movie snack and drink? Drink, generally, I'll generally go with coffee, regardless. Movie snack wise, depends on my mood. If it's chocolate, I do like things like Minstrels or M&Ms. Or I'll go for sort of a chocolate covered pretzel. One of my addictions at the moment is if you're UK based, pretzel flips. They did a gingerbread flavour and they're delicious. I'd hit them every time if I could when I'm watching a movie. Just the whole packet, share packet, and I'm all the way through. But generally, it's coffee. I don't drink alcohol anymore for reasons that I'm not going to here, but you can probably all guess. So I tend to just drink coffee or water. That's as exciting as I get. All things film with Yum Yum. The best film I've seen so far this year, I think I'd have to go with Horror Express. I've seen it a few times now. Last year was the first time I saw it and absolutely love it. Right, I'm going to write that down because it's not one I know of. Horror Express. There we go. Frank Sanchez. I find that if you order from the companies, Arrow, Vivision, etc., they make sure to package it safely. Amazon, HMV, Zavvi, look at the drawer. Yeah, absolutely. I one of the best packaging distributors that I've used has been Second Sight. I've had a couple of box sets from them, and it's been bubble wrapped, and they've had the air cushion packaging around it in a cardboard box. It was great. So Simon, have you seen 1 Hour Photo starring Robin Williams? It's currently on Disney Plus UK. Also picked it up for 20 pence on DVD from a charity shop. Absolutely, yeah, I've seen that one. It's great, great movie. If I remember rightly, was it Michael Vartan from that was in Alias? In that was the father of the family. Can't remember. I might have been thinking of something different, but yeah, Robin Williams was absolutely fantastic in that, and it was a DVD that I had that I actually gave away because it was Region 1-1. I know I was on a clear out spree. It's not a film I can see myself revisiting anytime soon, so I thought I don't need to keep the DVD on my shelf, so it went, but it is a great, great movie. I 100% agree. The Monkey, do you ever make your own chocolate-covered pretzels? No, I'm too lazy. Dano Trooper, hello. I found a fair few cheap Warner Archive Blu-rays on Amazon Spain. Yeah, interesting, might give that a look. I would like a Blu-ray of Freebie and the Bean. I have a bootleg of it, but I've not had the official release through yet. Friend Sanchez, pay more for the companies direct, though they take the money straight away, which might actually be a good thing as far as sticking to a budget is concerned. Yeah, I agree. I like to pay things with I like to pay for things straight away when I'm ordering something big like that. I feel like I'm more guaranteed to get the title if I've already paid for it. All things film. Just thought I'd mention I own Cannibals and Carpet Fitters on German Blu-ray with you on it. There we go. I hope you recognise me. I think that the beard's grown in again, and I think, if I remember right, I had the beard in Cannibals and Carpet Fitters covered in prosthetics, but still had the big beard that they had to work around. It's on and off more times for various projects and things like that I'm working on. And yeah, if you see a sudden beard and then suddenly it's gone, it's generally that I've been saving it for something. But yeah, it's a fun movie to work on, to be honest with you. A little independent feature that was done in the UK, filmed partially in and around Nottingham. Yeah, check it out. It's quite cheap to pick up on DVD now. You can normally get a copy from eBay for about £3. Last Days on Earth. Alcohol equals a stint in the doghouse. Yes. I found that drinking alcohol as I've got older, the recovery time sort of extends out, and I started to miss the following days. So if I'd been out drinking, I'd lose all the next day. And I started thinking, I'm missing doing things that I enjoy doing purely for going out and getting drunk and spending a lot of money. So I cut down the spending money on alcohol, found that I was having more time for myself and to do things for myself and other things that interested me. And it just slowly became a thing that I didn't want alcohol anymore because I wanted to do other things with my time, and alcohol just put a dampener on that. Friend Sanchez, Second Sight always do a great job with packaging. We're definitely buying their release of the Hitcher. Now, I did want the Hitcher from Second Sight, but I have the Blu-ray on my shelf from Germany. It's in a media book edition, so I'm going to be thinking very carefully if that's going to be a movie that I will be picking up again, or if I just buy my time and wait for a sale and try and pick it up on a standard edition. The Monkey, what's your favourite Harry Potter film? Unpopular opinion, I don't have one. I'm not a giant fan of the Harry Potter franchise. I find them a little bit samey. So I couldn't pick them apart. The only thing that sticks in my mind was some of the imagery from the third movie. Was it Karan that directed that? Some of the, was it Death Dealers that was sort of ghostly figures? I liked the imagery of that. That's the only one that really sticks in my mind any. But yeah, side note, one of my very first auditions was for a Harry Potter movie. They'd finished filming completely. Deathly Hallows Part 2 had finished filming. They were doing some reshoots and pickups, and they needed a stand-in for Hagrid. They already had the costume, already had the mask, but they just needed someone to literally go and stand there in the stuff. So they called me down for a fitting or audition. So my first audition was literally to go and try on the Hagrid suit, which didn't fit. So I didn't get to work on it, but I got to see a lot of the sets and things like that when I was there, and just experience being on a movie set for a little while. It was disappointing that I didn't get to go on it just purely because the suit didn't fit, but yeah, it was still fun to go down there for that fitting. It's the difficulty with trying to dress a 7-foot giant. All things film. Have you seen Good Neighbour with James Caan? No, I haven't seen that one. Wasn't film I was expecting. I thought it would be a horror, but it was totally different genre, but the ending was a great twist. I might have to check that one out. I've not seen that one at all. David McKee, have you ever seen Ghost Story? It's a very, very slow movie, but I think it's a masterpiece. I don't think I have. I'm going to write that one down as well. So I come on the live stream and I get lots of movie recommendations as well. James Caan, Good Neighbour. There we go. Fran Sanchez. I bought the Warner Archive disc of Freebie and the Bean. I watched it during lockdown. Crazy film. Yeah, it is. I think it's got to be one of the first buddy action comedies ever. And it's great casting. And I don't remember too much about it, but I know I want it. I know I want the best version of it, and I know I loved it. So maybe one day I'll have to dig into looking for this Warner Archive version, or see if there's something else knocking about soon. The Monkey, was it you that did the video game voiceover for A Bard's Tale? Oh no, unfortunately not. I've not been. Excuse me. I've only been doing. Excuse me. I've only been doing voice work for the past year and a few months, so I'm still very fresh to that kind of industry. So I've got all my professional voice booths set up in the next room over there. I'm just waiting for the right sort of things to come up and hoping that I get an audition for a video game. That's what I'm sort of aiming towards, and that's what I'm hoping for. One of my voice reels that my agent has is purely a video game reel, and I did some scripts from various video games for that, so I'm hoping to follow down that path, but it's quite a difficult thing to get into. But I'm hoping that if I can get enough material out there and do it in the right way, that I might get a little bit of attention. I don't know, we'll see. All things film with Yam Yam. Independent films are great, especially British ones, which are very underrated. There's a lot of heart and passion in independent flicks, and yes, Cannibals and Carpet Fitters is fun with fun gore. Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised with the outcome of that film. When you're working on indie features, you're never quite sure how it's going to turn out, but I think that one worked pretty well. I was happy with it. I still use some of the footage from the Cannibals and Carpet Fitters in my acting show reel as well, just because there's a scene in it which really shows the height difference between me and one of the other characters, because he's like 5'9" or something short like that, and I'm like 7 foot. So when I'm standing up, I just tower over him. It looks great. Fran Sanchez, the German release of The Hitcher used an old print for the master. I believe they're going back to the negative for the 4K. Yeah, I've heard that too. So even the second side Blu-ray, if it's scanned from that negative, it'll still look so much better than that German release that I already have on there. Should I sell it or should I keep it? See what the second side disc's like. 3D Blu-rays. Do you have any? Do you have a 3D TV? Yes, and yes. I still have my 3D TV. I still have my 3D Blu-ray player, and I have quite a number of 3D movies. Perhaps not many, but yeah, there's a few to be getting on with, and some of them do look great. I'm surprised it's technology that didn't stick around for longer than it did. I think it looks great. I don't know why people stopped caring. There's a sudden surge of interest in 3D when Avatar came out. Everyone was so excited about it, and a year or two later, and no one cares anymore. I don't get it. Ghost Story, is that the one with Fred Astaire? I've not seen it, so I'm not sure. But I'm sure someone will answer you in the comments further down. Slipknot fan, do you think James Cameron The Abyss should have been more successful? I noticed there's no merchandise for it like his other movies have Funko Pops, for example. I think it was reasonably successful movie-wise. I just don't think they had much to grab onto to produce a mass amount of Funko Pops. There's not any strong character imagery as such, I don't think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but nothing sticks out as being overly unique. I could see them doing a big Funko Pop of the underwater pods, I forget the name of them, or something like that. But yeah, I'm not sure there's much scope for people being overly interested in merchandise for it. I could be wrong. They could try it further along the lines. They'll probably see the Blu-ray sales and then think, hey, we can produce something for this. Let's get it out there. Sean Allen, I picked up 2 movies yesterday, both blind buyers. Whiplash on Blu-ray. Whiplash is great. I love it. I've got a real appreciation of Damien Chazelle and what he's done so far. I picked up Babylon earlier. I've not watched it yet, but I am really looking forward to it based on the other things that he's done. Reviews weren't great, but I'm not worried. I still want to check out his imagery, how he films, his cinematography and everything like that. Still got great interest in how he's putting together his movies. And sorry, Sean. And 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri on 4K. The best £18 I've spent in a long time. I thought they were brilliant. Yep, both good buys. Both good buys. All things film. Do you have a favourite game? My favourite game is Shadow Dancer and The Secret Shinobi on the Sega Mega Drive. Oh, retro gamer. Nice. Personally, I can't stick with retro games anymore. Games, even the retro ones that I used to enjoy, I can't get into them anymore. A few minutes, that nostalgia's gone, and I want to get back to the newer games. Recently, favourite games, I love the things from Naughty Dog. The Uncharted series and Last of Us has been great. Last of Us Part 2 I thought was phenomenal. Got a lot of kickback because a lot of people weren't happy with the story. I thought it was fantastic. And I've also enjoyed the God of War games as well. So they tend to be sort of the third-person adventure shooters that I tend to gravitate towards. But the Uncharted games really stuck out as probably some of my favourites at the moment. Oh, good day, mate. I've got someone from East Coast of Australia. Oh, crikey. Good morning, Bryce. What time is it there, even? I think in the UK we're on about 9 o'clock at night. Fran Sanchez still have the Hitcher 2-disc DVD I bought an Asda 20 years ago. One of those mugs that bought a 3D TV. I think they're great. I don't think you're a mug. I just think the support hasn't been there or interest, to be fair. I think it's a great technology still. All things film. I have the original Hitcher, also on 2-disc DVD. Another one which picked up at the car boot sale a few years ago for a 50p. One of the best films of all time. Will you be picking up the Second Sight edition when that comes out? I kept the Gravity 3D, but no longer have the TV. I think it looked great. I thought Prometheus looked great on 3D as well. The Monkey, if you could pick any newer film to be released on 3D to reignite the love for those discs, which would you choose? That's a difficult one. I'd like a good horror to be put on 3D. I think it's very difficult because of the nature of how the 3D films have to be put together. There's a certain way of editing, a certain way of cutting and framing and things like that, that some of the newer films, although we'd love to see them in 3D, perhaps won't really work in them. But I'd love to see a Scream movie or something like that in 3D, when you've got a sort of character up front to the screen and you can see the killer coming in from the background, and really play with that sort of cat and mouse chase around the house as such in 3D. I think it could look great. Obviously, anything with big vistas and things like that look awesome as well, but I'd have to go for a slasher or something like that. Last Days on Earth isn't sure about buying James Cameron movies on 4K, as apparently the DNR is, quite heavy on it. The DNR, digital noise reduction, is if it's got too much of that digital noise reduction, it's just going to mean the actors on screen might look a bit waxy or like waxwork. Yeah, so sometimes it can be a bit jarring if that's been overused, but I'm going to check out a few screenshots of those movies. I've ordered The Abyss anyway, got it imported from the US because obviously the UK isn't having it because of some rat abuse, and they won't cut that scene out. So yeah, import, I've had to order that, so I'm just waiting for shipping notification to say that's on its way to the UK for me. Hopefully soon, hopefully. Brian Smith. I felt enjoying the stream. The recommendation you got for Ghost Story is spot on. Great movie. Yes, Fred Astaire is in it. Thank you, Brian, for filling in the question and for enjoying the stream. Ghost Story starring Casey Affleck and Rooney Mara. I feel like I'm falling behind a bit with these questions. Fran Sanchez needs to check out Babylon, very similar to Dave the Locust, a film I love but isn't talked about much. Got the Arrow treatment recently, but only in the US. Hello, Alexander. Nice of you to join us. All things film. That video you put up today, was that filmed today too? If so, the editing was extra impressive. How much detail is in the edits? And yes, Uncharted and the Last of Us franchise is outstanding. Yes, they are. No, I filmed the video, I think it was Thursday last week, so it's been on my phone for quite a while. Took the day to sort of film the shopping video, then I had to have a break from it, and then I came back and filmed a little more for the green screen footage early this week and edited it all together yesterday, I believe. So because I struggle with time sometimes, it's very choppy when I can get to and from the editing of the video, so it takes me a while because it's difficult juggling work and kids and things like that. So unfortunately, I'd love to have been able to do it in a day, but it's just not a reality for me. But thank you for watching it, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. The shopping video is a bit of a different thing for me. I just wanted to try something a little bit different, so I thought I'm going to do a shopping video, but try and put a little spin on it and do it in my own way and see how it works out. Hopefully it works okay. We'll see. Might do another one if it works okay, but yeah, it's not going to be too regular because I don't want to get into the habit of going to spend for the sake of it. Last of Us 2 actually reminded me of Uncharted 4, but without the infected. Alexander, I hear watching 3D movies via VR like MetaQuest is mighty. Makes 3D movies look amazing with near infinite depth. People praise it a lot. Yeah, I'm quite excited about that, especially with Apple TV sort of stepping up, Apple Vision Pro sort of stepping up with things like that. I think the technology for VR and headsets in general is going to be pushed further and quicker now. Hopefully, anyway. I think Apple's shaking them up and perhaps pushing them to try harder. How about the Ring on 3D? Don't think it's ever got released on 3D. I'm not 100% keen on the Ring. I think it's okay. I'm not a massive fan of it. Okay. Yeah, all things film will get the Blu-ray of The Hitcher. I think it deserves it, but don't want to spend too much for it, as it's one of his favourites. Treat myself to a Blu-ray version. Fran Sanchez thinks he'll buy True Lies, but it'll be through gritted teeth. Hold off a little bit, friends. Just wait a few months and get it a bit cheaper. Won't be as bad then. All things film. Hopefully there's some nice special features on The Hitcher. Fingers crossed. With the amount of time it's taken them, I'm hoping they've got together a really nice package. The thing with a lot of these packages with Second Sight at the minute, they've been quite reliant on just talking head videos with interviews. I like to see some behind the scenes footage, but my worry is that it might just be a load of interviews. Just hope they chop it together in a nice, interesting way. We'll see. Alexander, swooped upon True Lies and The Abyss, passed on Aliens as I already own the Blu-ray. That's fair. I'll be getting all three, I think, eventually. I've got to wait a little bit for Aliens and True Lies in the UK. They're not out until April. Another recommendation on Ghost Story. I think that's definitely hitting my list. Brian Childs, have you had any issues with Spanish imports? Those are the only ones that I'm hesitant on. I don't think I've got any Spanish imports in my collection. I think it's mainly German, from Europe anyway. I don't think I've even got a French movie anymore. French ones I had on DVD, but not while they've been on Blu-ray. It's just been mainly German releases for me. I think my friends had some from Italy, which have been alright as well. Slipknot fan, have you seen The Lighthouse starring Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson? Embarrassing admission. No, I haven't. It came out on Blu-ray when I did intend to get it. The director of The Lighthouse was Robert Eggers, and I ended up working with Robert Eggers on The Northman, and it was a film I intended to get and watch while I was working on The Northman, but I never actually picked it up. I never got it. It was during lockdown, and they had us literally stay in our apartments because they were worried about COVID and people on set. So I did intend to go out and pick up The Lighthouse while I was working with Robert Eggers, but never got a chance to go out and pick it up to be able to watch it. And it's one that just sort of bypassed me. I'm not sure why. I need to get back to it. I need to see it and check out what Robert says in his interviews and things like that. The DNR and Predator Blu-ray from years ago was atrocious. The actors looked like melting wax. Got Spanish import of Mosquito Coast. Picture was worse than DVD. So that's pretty bad. Thank you, Jeremy. Only 20 likes. What's happening, guys? What's happening? I'm going to be wrapping this up in a moment because I'm ready for another cup of coffee and I can hear my throat needing a drink. Only any Arnold films on 3D, Dread or Demolition Man would look pretty interesting. Demolition Man I'd go in for. I think the only Arnie film I've got in 3D is Terminator 2, I think. Alexander has seen The Northman. I hope you enjoyed it, Alexander. Now you need to watch it again and keep your eyes out for me. All things film, physical media collector, but when I was about 19 I went down a bad road. By that I mean I literally out £20 aside for food to last me a week and the rest of my week's wages on films. It's the dangerous game of being a collector and perhaps a little bit of a collecting addict. Arnold is mentioned as President of the United States in Demolition Man. Put not out, put the wrong word in. Yep, All Things Film agrees. Germany do some great releases with decent prices, much better prices than here in England. They are better prices, definitely. I think the packaging is sometimes not so great, but yeah, definitely better prices. Brian Smith, do you go to the cinema, Phil? Do you just wait for the physical release and see a movie for the first time on disc? I try to go to the cinema when I can. I've got 2 young children and a job and other jobs and other things as well. So time to get to the cinema can be quite difficult at times. I did manage to go quite a bit last year. I was working away on a TV show and I managed to free up quite a bit of time because I was working overseas away from home. I managed to escape and went to the cinema sort of 1 or 2 times a week. So it was quite nice to have that free time to be able to actually visit the cinema. I love it. I'll go when I can, but at the minute, the reality is I just can't afford all the time. Jeremy Carr with the recommendations. All Hallows Eve, Terrifier 2. And the Wreck franchise. I've never checked out a rec movie. I've always known about them, never checked it out. Another recommendation for The Lighthouse. Yeah, Fran Sanchez. You'd think Mosquito Coast would get a proper release after the series. Absolutely. Sean Allen, can't wait for the hype on those Cameron 4K discs to die down. Week after everyone has them all, they will all be forgotten about and collecting dust on the shelf. Absolutely agree. Right then, I'm going to say goodbye for now, and thank you all for watching and commenting. I did have some banners ready for along the bottom if I ran out of things to say, but you filled my time nicely, and thank you very much for that. Until next time, I will bid you farewell. Thank you all for watching. Let me know in the comments if there's any discussion points you want to go over in future videos, and I'll try and get something together and perhaps try and get some guests on or something like that. If you're interested, actually, there's a TV show coming out soon that I worked on. I think it's out in April in the UK and in the summertime in the US. If you're interested in the TV show and if you want to hear more about it, if you're interested in me doing a live stream watch along with other actors from the TV show, give me a shout out and I'll see if I can organise that for when the show premieres. Perhaps do a live stream a few weeks after it, just so that we don't spoil anything, but I can get the actors involved and see if I can do that as well. But thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you all in the future.